Hello and welcome back to the Oasis podcast, the ultimate audio guide to Oasis, and welcome to another tier list. So, what we're going to do today is talk about the different Oasis members and look at their success levels post Oasis. Now, we're going to go back in time. We're going to start with the latest member of Oasis to join, all the way back to the first, and let's look at the different levels of success that they've had having left the band, whether that be performing, songwriting, other aspects as well. So let's get started, shall we? First off, we're going to go with Chris Sharrock. Now, Chris Sharrock was only briefly in Oasis at the very end, joining to tour the Dig Out Your Soul album. Great drummer. A lot of people think he's one of Oasis' best drummers, although he never got to record with them, which was a shame. Chris went on to be a founding member of BDI with the ex-Oasis guys, except Noel. And then when BDI disbanded, he jumped over to Noel's band and became a high-flying bird. So yeah, he's been pretty much non-stop ever since with members of Oasis. Obviously, he's not a songwriter. So uh, I would say it's been decent because while he's not a songwriter, he's not been out of work pretty much the whole time. But yeah, he's a drummer, so he's stayed busy, played with both Liam and Noel, and yeah, done a good job, decent. Right, next up, Zak Starkey. Zach has been on and off with The Who that whole time. That was always when he was with Oasis, he was kind of splitting his time with The Who and Oasis. It was always a little bit tricky for them because he could never fully commit to one or the other. Since then, he's carried on playing with The Who, both on record and live, and he's also got his own band called SSHH, which is a decent band. And he's also played with Toots and the Maytals, and he set up his own record label, Trojan Jamaican. So I think he's had a decent run. I wouldn't say it's been particularly amazing. I suppose playing with The Who is pretty impressive because The Who are one of the best bands in the world, but I'm going to say it's been decent. He's been decent. He's done well. Right. Andy Bell. Andy Bell is another very interesting one. Joined BDI straight after the Oasis split. Was a contributing songwriter for BDI, wrote some of their best songs as well. So I think you could definitely get extra points for that. And then post BDI, he's then gone back to Ride, done some great albums and great EPs with Ride, toured the world, and been one of the very few kind of heritage acts, or when these bands get back together after a long time, that it's not just about touring the old hits, but they've actually gone on to make really important records, and probably the best of their career as far as I'm concerned. Not just that, but he's put his own solo stuff as Glock, which is the sort of the dancier stuff. Plus, he's then done his own solo album last year, which was really, really good. So I think Andy Bell has got to go into impressive. I don't think he's quite biblical because nothing that he's done has really, set the charts alight or won awards. But I think he's been really, really impressive. Next up, Gem. Gem's another interesting one. Similar career path to Chris Sharrock, I suppose, in that he joined BDI, was with BDI till the end, and then when BDI split, has then jumped over to Noel's band as well. So he's also done songwriting with BDI, but then no songwriting with High Flying Birds, obviously, because that's very much Noel's thing. He had an awful time with an injury, which caused him a lot of problems. So I think I'd say he's been impressive, but not quite at Andy Bell's level. So I'm going to put him between Andy and Chris. But it's been impressive, I'd say. I'd say I'll put him above Chris really because of the songwriting aspect. Next up, Alan White. Alan White, other than appearing on Instagram recently, he's been non-existent. He's not been out. He's not been around at all since leaving Oasis. He stepped away from the music industry. No interviews, nothing at all. Apparently, he went into real estate, which buying and selling properties. and he's done very well at that. Apparently, made quite a bit of money by all accounts. But in terms of music, other than recently doing some Instagram videos, nothing at all. So let's say non-existent. Um, Noel Gallagher. Well, come on, straight into the biblical category. Um, from the split of Oasis, he's formed High Flying Birds. He's put out some great albums with them, some great singles, EPs. He's now got enough that he could put a greatest hits album out of all the singles he's done. So yeah, really impressive. Got to go into the biblical category. And then similar, Liam Gallagher. Well, now if this was a few years ago, then I'd be putting Liam in impressive along with the BDI, along with sort of Gem in the BDI sort of region. But actually, because of the last two albums, he's got to go into biblical. Definitely. It's very difficult with then who's ahead, whether it's Liam or Noel, because um, I would definitely put Noel's albums ahead of BDI albums. But then if you watch my previous video ranking the albums, I put Liam's albums above the most recent two High Flying Birds albums. So it's very difficult to say because, especially at first, Noel was definitely kind of in the lead when it came to things like album sales and award nominations and things like that. But in the last couple of years, Liam's actually taken a lead. So if you think about where we are right now, I'd probably put Liam ahead. Very difficult, very difficult. But let's put Liam ahead for now. Let's see what happens with the next album. It might be that, Noel, we're hearing is going to be coming back soon. And when he does, that might be the thing that pushes him ahead. But especially with Liam's last single, All You're Dreaming Of, as well, I think we've just got to give him the edge right now. All right, Tony McCarroll. Tony's a tricky one. When he left Oasis in 1995, he was very quiet for a while. He did come back with a band with his brother, I think it was, that never really did anything. There are demos floating around on the internet if you want to try and find them. And he's not played in any records, but he has come back and done quite a few interviews, some of them with me, which was absolutely brilliant. So I'm going to put him above Alan because he's been a bit more around than Alan. But I'm going to put him in patchy because he's done a couple of bits here and there, but not a huge amount. But it would be great to get him back out again once the pandemic's over. Can we convince him out to do some more live stuff? It would be brilliant if we could. But there we go. Then we've got Guigs. Guigs is a tricky one. Now, he has kind of been non-existent, but then he did manage a band for a while. He managed a reggae band and he appeared on the Corner Shop album. He had a home studio where people would record with him. So I'm going to put him in patchy above Alan White there because he's done a few bits. Actually, I'm going to put him ahead of Tony as well because he did play on that Corner Shop album and he had that band for a while. So yeah, let's put him in patchy. Bonehead. So we're going to end with Bonehead, who ultimately started the band initially with Guigs. Now, where's he going to go? So he had the Phony and the Freaks with Alex Lipinski. He had the Parlor Flames with Vinnie Peculiar. He's also played guitar with Pete McLeod, and he's played live with Liam on a number of occasions. So does that get into impressive or does that get into decent? I'm going to say it's been decent because while he's had, some great albums and great EPs with Pile of Flames and with Phony and the Freaks, it's not been hugely significant. These are quite minor sort of projects. They've never done massive figures. He's done the odd gig here and there, but not like huge tours. He's played well with Liam's band, but once again, it's only sort of been coming on and doing, 6 or 7 songs just occasionally. So I don't think we can really put him in the impressive line. So I'm just going to move him down. I think Chris Sharrock probably just needs to go above him because he's been so much more regular as well with his appearances. So I'm going to put him there. I'm going to put him above Zak. because while Zak's played drums for the Who, I think playing regularly with Liam probably just put him above that, I would say. So yeah, so there we go. Non-existent. We've got Alan White, but we'd love to have you back, Alan. And if the recent Instagram videos are anything to go by, it might be happening. Patchy, we've got Tony, just with the interviews and those little bits he's done, and then Guigs. Decent. We've got Zak Starkey playing drums with the Who and a few other bits and pieces. Bonehead with his Oasis touring. Bonehead with his Liam touring and his other side projects he's done. And Chris Sharrock just keeping going, drumming for both BDI and Noel. And we've got in the impressive category, we've got Gem. I think because of the songwriting with BDI and then being a really, really strong presence in Noel's band. And then we've got just above him, Andy Bell. Those great Ride albums, the great solo work he's done, plus also the work with BDI before that. And then we've got Noel and Liam very close, neck and neck at the top there in that biblical category. Both still sold a lot of records, both been critically acclaimed. Noel probably started out in the lead, but then I think Liam currently, as we stand in, where are we, April 2021, probably just has the edge. So there we go. What did you think? Let me know in the comments if you agree or if you think I'm an idiot. And and as ever, stay in touch, stay engaged, and stay young.